behind the University of Tampa and their pitching prowess. It's our good pal, Sam Militello. What's going on, brother? How are you?
How you doing, Jay? How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How did it feel to get out of the heat?
God, it's hot out there. I'm not going to lie. And that turf doesn't make it any better.
Oh, my God. What do you guys have like the feels like temperature when you're out there?
I don't know. But when I got in my car, it said 105.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's any indication. It's hot.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, my mom and dad were like, oh, yeah, we were having a barbecue up there in Long Island yesterday. It was like, oh, it's like 69, but it feels a lot colder. I'm like, don't ask me what the temperature is here because it is boiling outside. What was the feel like at practice today with the team as you guys, big wins over West Florida over the weekend to advance to the national championships again there in Cary, North Carolina this weekend? What was the vibe like today at practice?
It's great, laid back, just just going over a few things that the first team that we're going to play does. Make sure that we're that we're prepared for it, but really it's just it's a relaxed feeling. They're out there having fun. A lot of talk about what to expect when we get there. A lot of new guys from that weren't there last year, so kind of filling them in on how things work, how what happens when we get there, the barbecues we have set up for the family and the players, all the good stuff. But now the vibe's great. They're laid back. They're ready to go. They want to go now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things about being around UT, the food. There's never a shortage of food.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's everybody's eating right if you're in the Spartans family, that's for sure. At what point this year did you know that this team had the chance to – was there a seminal moment? Was there a come-from-behind win? Was there one game where you look at it and like, oh, this team's got a chance to get back to Cary?
I don't know if it was one moment. It was like I said, it's a different team, so a lot of new faces, a lot of new personalities. I think our trip to California this year did really did wonders for us as far as gelling, getting together, getting guys to know each other a little bit better. And I think after that, kind of where maybe where we hit our stride. A lot of games this year weren't tested a whole lot with some of the scores. So you wanted to see how they were going to react when we were in some tough games, and when we were, they reacted well. They never gave up. The game we won in the regional, we're down 8-1 was amazing. These guys in the dugout never gave up. Their attitude was great. So they were all rooting for each other. So I think that was a big part of it.
Sam, when I was mentioning this a little bit before because we were talking about the successful coaches in the Bay Area and how you have to stay even keel and not get too high and not get too low. And I think I told you and Joe this. Like I looked into the dugout when you guys were losing 8-1, and it's like you guys weren't panicking, you weren't freaking out, you weren't yelling at the kids. It wasn't like everybody was walking on eggshells. How are you able to do something like that? Because obviously we're competitors. You want to win, and obviously 8-1 down. You're like, oh crap, like you don't want to be in that position, but. Is it an experience thing? Is it just knowing that, you're with the guys that you've been with before, that you've had success? Like what goes into that mindset? Because it's a lot easier to be on the outside and be like, oh, don't worry about it, you'll come back. But when you're in it, knowing that you either got to win or you're going home, like it's a zero. Like that's it, man. There's no alternative there.
They're gonna feed off of us. So if we're panicking, they're gonna panic. And Joe and I have been in this situation before. Jose, we've all been in this situation before. So it's like, we still got 3 innings left. We still got 4 innings left. We just got to chip away. We called them together after the 6th inning and said, look, we preach 7th, 8th, and 9th inning here. Those are Tampa innings. Those are the innings that we win. So 7, 8, 9, we just got to go out and win. And, we scored a few runs. And we kept telling them if we get the opportunity to get this a little bit closer, they're going to panic. They're going to panic over there because that's just kind of what everybody does when we get late in those games. And our guys didn't. The other team did, and that's just kind of what happened. They were, they walked some guys, they hit some guys. The next thing we're right back in the ball game. So, we learn from experience that the game's not over till it's over. I know it's a cliche, but it's so true. So when you're down 8 runs, it's like, all right, we just got to chip away and we got a few innings to do this. And this team has been streaky at times where they can put up some runs pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So we never felt we were out of it. But we just, we needed something, a spark, and we got that spark, kind of in the middle of the game there.
What do you say on the pitching side? Because everybody always talks about making up the runs offensively, but I think a lot of people forget too, like, hey, the way you come back from 8-1 is by keeping them at 8. So what's the message to your pitchers during a comeback like that?
Yeah, you're just trying to stop the bleeding. We've talked about this. Every year I've talked about this. You never know how many runs it's going to take to beat you. So when you go out there and you're losing by 7 or 8, and you kind of thrown in the red towel or the white towel, and you're giving up on it, and all of a sudden here comes that comeback. And if you would have just focused and stopped that one run from scoring, all of a sudden it's a tie ball game or you win the game. So you never know how many you're going to need. So we tell them, just try to eliminate the score, play it like it's a 0-0 ball game, try to stop the bleeding and give our guys a chance. And that's what our bullpen did. I mean, we had, was it five or six innings of zeros there at the end of that game, which gave us an opportunity to come back. And those guys did outstanding.
What has worked so well for some of your starters the last couple of years? It seems like every single year, a conference pitcher of the year is coming from the University of Tampa. What has been so good? Is it, because obviously every guy's different, every guy's got different stuff, but what has it been, how has it been so successful for some of your guys that, they're getting that recognition year after year?
I let them be themselves. I don't want to take any credit for it. You're here because you can do something well. We've seen it in you. So my thing is go out there and be yourself. Come up with your own routine. Come up with your own, your whatever it is, your pregame, routine that you have to do. Your weekly routine that's going to make you successful. I don't care what it is, as long as you have a routine in place and you go out there and you do it. And getting to know these guys and understanding, when you're calling pitches for them, what works and what doesn't work. When you earn that trust, I think from them, they throw the pitch with conviction. So I think it's just kind of, just knowing who they are and letting them be themselves. We bring them in here, they're pretty good guys, or else that we wouldn't have brought them in. So it's just letting them relax and have fun out there. And you got, a guy like CJ Williams this year who just, he for the most of the year, he was pitching behind Skylar, who was doing great. Skylar got sick one weekend and we switched it. And next thing CJ's taken off and is named All-American. It just kind of, he was being him. He was doing a totally different personality than Skylar. He's going to do it a totally different way, but they both are successful. So in my opinion, I've got two, even Stip, I've got 3 number 1 guys, that give us a chance to win every single game.
And I asked this question to Jose a couple of days ago about the hitters. And I said, do you ever tweak anything mechanically? And he's just not really. It's more of kind of looking at situations of keeping a guy, fresh mentally and just having a good time and going out there and taking some extra swings and hitting off the machine or doing just a multitude of different things. But it's never an overhaul mechanics of doing all these. What about you? When you see a guy messing up, is it a mechanical thing? Because I know pitching and hitting, there's similarities, there's differences. Is it ever a big time mechanical shift, or is it more of kind of the mental game?
It's the mental game, 100%. The mental game will make you do things physically that put you in a bad position to deliver a pitch. So, it'll make you late. It'll do other things. So it's really the mental game. It's just going out there and separating each pitch. After you throw one, it's bad. Okay, just, let's go, step on the mound again, clear your mind. Let's go throw the next one. So you're creating games in between games. Each pitch is a game, each hitter's a game, each inning's a game, each out. So you do it like that and try to keep them focused on what the next, just the next pitch. Kind of the same way with hitter. We try to keep it simple. With hitting, with the pitching, we keep it as simple as possible. It's all about throwing the ball over the plate. With hitting, it's all about getting the barrel to the ball. And that's a lot of what we talk about.
You mentioned a little while ago about, bringing in good guys. How important is that when you guys are scouting players? And it's one thing, you got to be able to, you want a guy that can throw strikes. You want a guy that can be able to hit. You want a guy that has, as many of the 5 tools as you can get. But how important is that when you bring a player into that UT program, right? Whether you're looking at him, Jose's looking at him, Joe's looking at him, any of the guys are looking at him. How important is the person when you're bringing in somebody to be able to know that, this guy is going to contribute to us hopefully being successful next season?
It's huge. And you do a lot of basically a background check on him. You're talking to their coaches, you're talking to scouts, you're talking to anybody who knows them, the friends on their team that have played with them, and see what they have to say about them. And of course you want the good guy, but you also want the competitor too. The guy that's going to go out there and give you everything they have. And I'll be honest with you, it's not easy. It's because you're bringing kids in from so many different backgrounds. But when we get them here, it's how quickly can they gel to what we're about and what we talk about family. And most kids, when they come in, the day they walk in the door, they're not the same kid the day they leave. It's a transformation kind of our culture here and what we believe in. And
what's the biggest change? What's the biggest change, Sam, when you see it? Maybe not specifically as a person, but like, what is that difference when a guy walks in versus what? Is it the selflessness? Is it just team above me kind of thing?
It's all those things. It's that, and it's family. It's pulling for everybody. Yeah. It's you see the relationships develop. You got a guy that comes in and is kind of a he's real aggressive, a real high energy guy, which a lot of our guys are not. So you kind of got to see him mold into kind of what our guys are about. We don't take that away from him because that's part of what made him successful. Mm-hmm. But he softens up to his teammates, and all of a sudden starts to care. And you start to see those things start to develop. And it's cool because, you're taking a bunch of strangers and putting them together, and it's not easy. And that's part of the biggest things for us is that years down the road, these guys are still friends and they're still in each other's weddings and their kids are hanging out together. And, and we've created this. We've brought these strangers together and kind of created this for them. And all of a sudden they got friends and brothers for life.
Yeah, and that's one of the best parts when you go to a UT game is like there's so many alumni, so many former players that are at these games. Every single game, like you can't go to a UT game there at the Birdcage and not see a alumni. It's impossible. I've been to hundreds of games over the years, and I've never been to a game where there wasn't an alumni there. It's crazy. What's the next couple of days like, Sammy? Because obviously you want to find that balance, right? You want to find that balance of like staying calm, but also like, all right, we got to make sure that we can't leave any stone uncovered. What's the next, just from your side, for your pitchers, what is the next couple of days look like before you guys head down to Cary and get rolling?
Just getting ready, not looking past anything, focusing on the team that we're going to play, but just getting all the guys ready. Had a bunch of guys throw bullpens today. I got the other half throwing them tomorrow. Getting everybody ready to go. So Saturday, everybody's available to me. And then we get up there, you kind of get adjusted. You get an hour and a half practice on the field over there in Cary. So get them just get them accustomed to the field, how it works and the atmosphere. We'll do a couple dinners and stuff like that to get these guys going. But ultimately, we tell the guy, and Joe tells the guys all the time, the team that settles in first is going to be the one that wins it all. When you take away all the external factors and all the pressure of the World Series, it's the team that relaxes the first team to relax, and the first team to kind of accept that and relax and play is going to be the team that comes out. So we'll spend a lot of time talking about that. Joe does a great job with explaining to these guys, how to relax and have fun with it.
One of the things that's been well documented over the years is your relationship with Joe and the success, and Jose coming in years later, and just, man, you guys have just had such a incredible success. When you first met Joe, I don't want to say when you first met Joe, when you guys first got together at UT, when did you know that this was really going to be successful? Right, because a lot of people look at it now. We look back at how many championships you guys won, but going back to the beginning, when you first not played, when you coached there, what point did you guys know when you looked at each other like, man, what we're doing is the right thing? This recipe is going to lead to success.
It was the first year we got here, the team was kind of already here. Terry Rupp had done a good job of recruiting a lot of good players, so they were kind of here already. We came in and we were told, you can't, this is college baseball. You can't develop players. You got to win. And Joe and I, both coming out of pro ball, coaching pro ball for the previous 4 years, we were all about development. That's how we learned. Right. So, they're like, well, you can't do it that way. And well, we're going to try it. And we were able to do it. So, we got players here that we thought that we could develop. And in our opinion, if you're developing, you're winning. Right. So I would say, it happened pretty quick. Well, we were on the same page, and I think it helped that we both came from pro ball. So a lot of the things that we learned there, we brought over. So we gelled really quick. Him and I were good friends. We played we played. I played against him in Little League, played against him in high school. We played together in college, so we knew each other. We were good friends, so it didn't take long for us to gel that way. But I think coaching pro ball really helped us because we came in with the same mindset, and we both had the same goals and what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. And it's been a great relationship. I mean, he lets me run all the pitching. He says, I don't know anything about pitching. You do it. Just tell me what you want to do. And he trusts me like that. And it's been great. It's been a great, I know what he's thinking. He knows what I'm thinking. So it's been a good run.
Before I let you go, Sam, I want to ask you, the big thing is family, right? And it's one thing to have the family, as far as, the family that you build, right, with the players, but there's also family that like you have, like, to see your family there and to see, being so close to the Russos over there and now having Cole on the team and seeing JD grow up and be part of the team and, to see, Alexa on the softball side, like, what is that like to be able to have like kind of like, I don't want to say your real family, but like the family that you have, right? The family that you grew up with and now your family with the baseball side. Like this to me is one of the most unique teams that you guys have ever had because it's not just the UT baseball family. Like this is like the Militello Martin Russo side.
Yeah.
As well,
Yeah. No, it's been great. It's been great. My kid, Joe's kids, they've grown up at the field. I don't know if you saw it. Mel posted a picture the other day of JD and her in Cary when Alyssa was like, 3 years old. And then she had one of them hugging the other day, all grown up now. But they've grown up together and, in the Urso family and my family there, we're all family. Now you add, Alexa, my goddaughter here, playing softball, and you add Cole, my nephew here. And it's just been it's been a great year because it has felt more, even more like family than in the past because of the Russo connection and it's been awesome. I'm so happy for Cole, getting this opportunity. He's loving it. He wants to be there right now. He doesn't even want to wait Thursday to leave. He wants to go there right now. And Alexa doing her thing, they're in the finals up, in Chattanooga. So it's just been awesome watching them go about their business and doing what they love. And then, of course, JD, I've seen JD, was there when JD was pretty much born. So seeing him throw a baseball around all day long while we were at practice when he was 2 and 3 years old to what he's done now and leading this team, it's just been great. It's been awesome. And it is a family affair and we love it. We wouldn't want it any other way.
Saturday, 6 o'clock, first game.
Saturday, 6 o'clock.
How do you say it? Felician.
Felician.
All right, my friend. We will. When do you guys leave?
We leave Thursday morning early.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sammy, I appreciate your time today, my friend.
Absolutely.
Of course, I'll be up there. Not this weekend. I know you guys will win a couple of games, and then I'll see you next week. Can't miss it, man. Cary, North Carolina. You just call it Tampa North, I guess, because of how many years and how many times you guys spend up there. But give my love to Joe, Jose, the entire family, Mel, and the entire outside of baseball family, even though everybody's the baseball family.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, my brother. Always great catching up with you. Best of luck, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You got it, pal. The one and only